59 seconds of logos, which is a red flag that this movie don't give a fuck about any plans I have this afternoon. Reading. Also, it's Remindo reading, for those who never saw or saw but forgot the first movie, which is a lot of people, since this sequel is like 30 years late. Roll replica credits. Oh wow, movie opens on a human eye opening cliche. Awesome, such original, so creativity. In answer to the question, how much fog is too much fog, movie dares to answer, there is no such thing as too much fog.
I'm a farmer. What do you farm?
Darkness, from the looks of this kitchen.
I prefer to keep an empty stomach until the hard part of the day is done.
What if the hard part of the day happens at night? Do you go all damn day without eating? Doesn't that, suck? Really strong character or really shitty walls? You make the call. Also, I guess it's a requirement that a Blade Runner movie has to open with a scene of a character crashing through a wall.
Because you've never seen a miracle.
On the contrary, dog, I've seen Miracle 15 times or more. Oh wait, you didn't mean the movie, did you? And you weren't talking to me. It's 2049, but guns are still firing regular bullets. Where are the phasers and laser guns? And we've cracked the code for AI and naked chick billboard holograms, but where are the photon torpedoes?
One moment, man.
Okay, I buy all the events that led up to the discovery of Rachel's remains, but the odds that there happens to be a flower placed on the spot and he catches it right before he's supposed to be going back to base are astronomical, and I'm not going to let that go unmentioned. A minute and a half of Kay flying his ship back to base in the rain.
Oh, skin job.
Casual racist police officer is casually racist.
Caution. Keep clear.
Talk about your overkill. These street sweepers are pretty damn hard to miss as it is, so I'm wondering if the scrolling text and the megaphone is really necessary. Also, again, 2049, but we're still doing the side-scrolling red dot matrix text thing on street cleaners, whatever the f this large vehicle is. What caused the stagnation in digital marquee advancement? Jesus, Sony, you own 50% of that long-ass opening logo sequence. You really need to squeeze in your own obvious product placement less than 20 minutes in? Movie goes hard on this replicant racism theme in the beginning, only to completely lose that thread over the rest of the runtime.
I need a drink.
Is this movie going to be as obsessed with alcohol as the first one is? Yes it is. I realize it's all fake, but she just said she was trying a new recipe, then served him steak, fries, and salad, none of which require a recipe. Whoa, I know this is some next level technology. How the f would that be possible?
An emanator.
You can go anywhere you want in the world now.
As long as I'm with you and I remember to push the button on this thingamadoo kicker. Wait, if there's one thing this movie makes abundantly clear about Joy, it's that she's ambient and can't physically touch Kay. So how are these water drops landing on her skin?
I'm so happy when I'm with you.
Has the movie even started yet? I know we've seen 22 minutes of it, but it all still feels like not main plot stuff. Damn, Kay just had his replica blocked. Also, this brings up a good question. Outside of the obvious sex bots, why give replicants sex organs at all? I know eventually Wallace wants them to be able to breed, but before this point they were built for pure subservience and slavery. Wouldn't having a sex drive be counterintuitive? As we've noted many times, the power of boners is often greater than the power of community service.
Go back. Closer, closer. What's that?
It's at this point that I just throw up my hands and realize Kay is a god in this fucking movie. Sure, he's super strong and impervious to pain, but he's also able to see that no one would be able to see, even with massive magnification.
He was a combat medic. Maybe he tried to save her and he just couldn't.
He didn't seem like the saving type.
Movie plays the pronoun game with Deckard, even though his reveal was the most promoted part of this movie.
A sentimental skin job.
As a first-time viewer of this movie, this lingo is frustrating as hell. Skin job could easily be human slang for androids, or android slang for humans. Either way, sentimental skin job would be a great band name.
She was a replicant. Pregnant.
Even the Thunder knows how ominous the idea of a pregnant replicant is. This is an orgy of evidence that this is the office of a high-ranking official that doesn't have time for your bullshit. Cluttered desk, bunches of files everywhere, multiple desk lamps. All we're missing is a bottle of hard liquor. Aha! You know, I don't see any ads for Pepsi or Mountain Dew or Fresca. Did Coca-Cola finally dominate the cola wars? Is it the only option now, like Taco Bell and Demolition Man?
Because you've never seen a miracle.
Memory's positional narration.
When the lights came back, we were wiped clean. Photos, files, every bit of data, gone. Bank records too.
Kay said the blackout was before his time, not that he didn't know anything about it. Mr. Only saying this for the viewer's benefit.
My mom still cries over the lost baby pictures.
Well, it's a shame. You must have been adorable.
All our memory bearings from the time. They were all damaged in the blackout.
Damn, pensieve technology has come a long way since Harry Potter's time.
What can you tell me about him?
I like to work alone.
Hey, why is Gaff speaking English? Sure, things have changed since the last movie, but almost everyone in the original spoke that weird city-speak dialect. Within 20 years, that went out the window?
You wanted to review the new model, sir, before shipment?
An angel should never enter the kingdom of heaven without a gift.
And so begins the obfuscating dialogue that defines Jared Leto's character, who always seems to be reading from a different part of the script than his on-screen counterpart.
A new model. Well, let us see her then.
How in the name of common sense and cost efficiency is the best way to deliver replicant models for Wallace's approval via giant pop ice wrapper? Okay, so he's blind, but he can use the hovering sex toy drone cameras and a chip thing plugged into his head to see. Fine. Why the f does he ever not do this? Why ever be blind if you don't have to be?
A child can count to 9 on fingers. We should own the stars.
Really feels like the only character trait Denis Villeneuve gave Jared Leto was God complex. Go. Look, just because I want to pay for sex doesn't mean I want to do it in the storefront display window. In the future, all erogenous zones will be marked with giant asterisks. Maybe he's just that good of a detective, but after sitting on the couch thinking for a bit, the piano was literally the first thing he touched, and now he's found more evidence. Dude, they photographed the out of this area, and there were obviously teams of investigators sent, but nobody noticed this obvious tree carving that was like half an inch below the dirt. If in the real world something crazy ends up happening on 6/10/21, no one is ever going to stop joking about how this movie predicted it, probably all throughout most of the 2050s.
All I remember is a group of boys trying to take it away from me. So I run.
So now let's cut to super specific flashback footage of this event he barely remembers.
Later on, those kids find me and they beat me to tell them where it is, but I don't.
Why did this specific memory end up in K? I mean, what a huge coincidence that the horse recall went to a super rep Blade Runner.
What happens if I finish that?
Shouldn't I get back to work, madam?
Robin Wright character nearly Kevin Spacey's a robot cop. Why the hell is there blood out here in the hall? Coco was killed in the DNA vault and was instantly incapacitated. Was someone else murdered during the bone burglary and they didn't feel the need to mention it? Whoa, that's an amazing shot, but isn't she blocking his view? As we've been shown, Joy can be seen from multiple angles, so Kay'd be staring at the back of her head instead of this DNA.
You didn't like her enough to tell her the truth. 6, 10, and 21.
This movie explores a lot of the same territory explored by Spike Jonze's Her, only in this film, it's a side story rather than the focal point. It's still derivative, though.
A child of woman born.
And if it were true, I'd be hunted for the rest of my life.
Kay thinks he might be Rachel's son, but how would it be possible for him to be him? He's been installed at the highest level of government, and he's had his model number verified many times. The government and Wallace Corporation should know exactly what Kay is.
Says the girl died there. Genetic disorder. Galatian syndrome.
She has a syndrome named after a book of the Bible? Was it a complacency cold? Sinful sickness? False idol flu? How many movies starring Harrison Ford contain cinematic dams? I mean, at least 2 at this point, right? Even 30 years into the future, I'm not buying the lack of LA traffic. Trash-dumping spaceships borrow the sad future imagery from Wall-E pretty damn hard.
Well, here we are.
The thunder in this movie has better timing than Bob Newhart. The ship's electronics go out due to the harpoon, including Joy, but she's powered by the memory stick in his pocket and not tied to the ship whatsoever. Is this an EMP? Does the movie give a shit about explaining? I know Kay's a super duper replicant and all, so I'm not saying the fact that he survives this, but the car should be in f***ing pieces, or at the very least non-functional. Malfunctioning digital girlfriend. Damn it, I thought I was never gonna have to say that phrase again. Since this is San Diego, I'm guessing this is the dystopic future of Comic-Con.
Fire again.
Love Ex Machina! Seriously, I know she's been tracking Kay's movements, but how do they have this many missiles at the ready? Kay decides it's safe to come out of cover, even though there was a massive firestorm just a few seconds ago, and he has no clue where it came from. If he deduced that it was from Wallace, why would he lead them to the orphanage? Movie briefly cuts to live footage from the Apple manufacturing plant. Okay, look, I love Denis Villeneuve, and I don't mind movies that take their time, but this is a prime fucking example of a scene taking way too long to get to the point. Just get to the toy, man! Get to the fucking toy! No one will be seated during the Terrence Malick portion of the movie. Discount holodeck!
Someone lived this, yes.
Wait, if Anna is Rachel's daughter and she lived the orphanage memory, then how did she get into such a highly secured position as the memory maker? Sure, she escaped, but back to LA, right in front of everyone?
Madam is calling you in. You're under arrest. Drop your gun and keep your hands where I can see him.
They sent one car to detain this badass super replicant that's virtually unkillable. This is definitely a government decision. Also, why is he being arrested at all? As far as Joshi knows, Kay's been following leads that pertain to the case. If she just calls him in, it's a certainty he'd come.
You liked her, I could tell.
Joy picks the day that Kay's life is falling apart to enact her proxy horror plan. This is a nice gesture and all, but dude's got a lot on his mind right now. Also, how did Joy contact Mariette without Kay knowing anyway? Isn't she always in his pocket?
It's okay. She's real.
This movie explores a lot of the same territory explored by Spike Jonze's... Holy f***, that's horrifying! Also, do androids dream of electric hookers? It may look like he's deep in thought right now, but Kay's just planning how to explain this threesome to all his cop buddies. Luckily for the freedom movement, Kay only has the one coat, so this tracker's guaranteed to work through the rest of the movie.
They'll be coming after me soon.
But instead of getting a good head start, I decided to take a break to f*** my computer and a pleasure bot. Also made some coffee.
Break the antenna.
Wait, so if Love's been following Kay's every move, wouldn't she know that he went to see Dr. Memory? Were they planning to follow up with her? How about the orphanage?
Total. Elevate to 400 feet.
But do it all slow and sexy-like. How the f*** does Love keep getting into the heavily secured police station? Man, this movie uses a lot of CinemaSins sound effects. Alright, damn it, this movie is gorgeous, and if I don't remove a sin for this scene alone, I couldn't live with myself. Okay, maybe I could, but I'm gonna remove it anyway. Movie that was billed as co-starring Harrison Ford waits nearly 2 damn hours to Harrison Ford.
Many is the night I dream of cheese.
Is he talking about Hollywood Homicide? Also, since it started happening so often, I'm gonna create a Harrison Ford plays a character from earlier in his career cliché.
You're a cop. I'm not here to take you in.
So Deckard's plan was to let someone he immediately suspected was a Blade Runner get all the way into the casino and up to the second floor before even engaging him? Wait, Elvis and Marilyn Monroe existed in this universe? Is this supposed to be basically our timeline? Where did shit go sideways then? Why couldn't we get the Jared Leto version that created replicants and never formed 30 Seconds to Mars?
You didn't even meet your own kid? Why?
Because that was the plan.
Okay, I'm willing to believe Deckard sees some of himself in Kay, and Kay's shown him that he wasn't interested in fighting. But this information is the most closely guarded secret ever, and he's just divulging all this shit because Kay asked him some questions? Man, I sure hope this punching and kicking fest between two elite replicants doesn't foreshadow an anticlimactic final confrontation between these two.
Stop!
Could someone please tell me how it's possible that Joy can turn herself on here, when all the other times it's been shown that Kay has to hit the button for her to appear? Man, this lady is evil! How does a replicant get such a fervent, vindictive streak? God damn it. I realize that stupid movie villains are stupid enough to leave the hero alive, but Wallace people are supposed to be incredibly smart, so what the fucking movie? She planted that homing beacon a good while back, but somehow she, what, knew he was in trouble? Knew he'd found Deckard? The Freedom Movement had her place a beacon, but my question is how they knew when to go searching for him.
We hid the child and made a vow to keep our secret.
Well, except for Deckard, who spilled the beans within 5 minutes of the first human encounter he's had in years.
You imagined it was you. Oh, you did?
Yes, he did, because the movie told him to. Logic certainly had nothing to do with it.
There's a bit of every artist in their work.
Why the f*** didn't she just tell him when he visited her? She cried at the memory because it was hers. Why did she keep it so vague so he would continue thinking he was real? Did they threaten to take her holodeck bubble away if she squealed? Sure, he's informationally challenged about his current situation, but what about Deckard makes you think he'd just sit here and take it while some mystery guy in the dark grabs hold of his hands lovingly?
And God remembered Rachel, heeded her, and opened her womb.
How convenient that there's a Bible verse that matches this very specific robot pregnancy situation.
You don't have children, do you?
Well, I have millions.
Travis Henry. Ugh, the Blade Runner sequel just Tron Legacy Sean Young.
Don't you love me?
Her eyes were green.
You mean Wallace went to all this fucking trouble to perfectly recreate Rachel, but didn't get her eye color right? That's not like missing a freckle or something. It's a very obvious trait.
Off-world. I have everything I need to make you talk. You do not know what pain is yet.
Why is the real pain torture gear all off-world, though? Just break some glass and start carving him up if he doesn't talk. Done. No reason to go off-world, dog.
You will learn.
And that's it for Jared Leto's character. No return at the end, no real input into the final fight, no real impact on the movie besides the ridiculous dialect. I'm sure it's a much more liberal society and all, but is everyone on the street right now really looking up a giant vagina? Why the f*** does the advertisement version of Joy have all black eyes? This looks demonic as hell.
Dying for the right cause is the most human thing we can do.
Repeating intelligent-sounding dialogue as a memory just 16 minutes after we first heard it.
Take us back!
And they hit the ocean. Jesus. She said, take us back. Not turn so hard you crash us into the ocean.
Get us up!
It takes Love telling the pilot this for him to try the engine. Movie somehow manages to be interesting for a couple hours, then devolve into a broken down It's a Small World ride. I'm probably not your son, and I probably just died trying to probably save you from the people who probably wanted to bioengineer your sperm's face. Damn it, it is coming down to the ultra super replicants punching and kicking each other repeatedly. Movie, you're better than this. Villain pulls a knife during a fist fight cliche. Deckard doesn't look as concerned at the rising water levels as he does bemused. How many head injuries has he had over the last few hours? Unkillable villain is killed by unkillable hero who basically had already been killed. Huh, this movie really could have been called F*** with K-Day.
Here's your problem. Someone set this thing to evil.
I'm here for Mr. Wallace. I'm Love.
You remember your business partner, Marcellus Wallace, don't you, Brett?
I have famously huge turds.
The world is
built on a wall.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
A real boy now.
I got no strings to hold me down.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
I had your job. I was good at it.
Yeah, I'm a cop. I'm a good cop. I'm a damn good cop.